Hello everybody, welcome to the Delta Quadrant again, and this week we are taking a look at the Fleet Tactical Escort Retrofit, also known as the Fleet Defiant. This is a ship that actually has quite a story behind it. So I flew Vesta for about a year, finally joined my first good fleet, started to kind of figure out the game and put into it, and I got this ship. But I was just blowing up all over the place, and I eventually got another ship after that, where I think I started using my ambassador class a bit heavier. Then I was kind of figuring how to work with cruisers at that point. And so this became a side project. I eventually got a really good layout on it though. Come about April or so. But then I got the heck, I copied over the layout, I improved it on the heck, and I liked it more, so the Defiant was just sitting in dry dock forever and ever and ever until one day I hit tier 5 in the Undine rep, and I started getting the gear, and I started thinking, maybe I should put beams on an escort. And that's exactly what I did. So, this ship has been specifically tailored for the Dyson Battle Zone, and I haven't taken it into any, or not the Dyson Battle Zone, the Undine Space Battle Zone, and I haven't taken it into any of the Undine STFs just because nobody ever really plays them, and they go really horribly, and I don't like that. So, in the end, we've got this, and it is actually a really awesome ship. I'm thinking of trying it out in PvP shortly, and if I do, I'll definitely get some video footage of that. But if I do go into PvP, I will probably switch it up quite a bit. It'll still be a beam boat and the Defiant, but it'll be different. So, getting right into it, for the weaponry, we've got the Biomolecular Disruptor Beam Array, accuracy, critical damage. Got 2 of those. A dual Biomolecular Disruptor Beam Bank, accuracy, critical hit. Damn it. Stupid hand twitching there. The Enhanced Biomolecular Photon Torpedo. The Heavy Biomolecular Disruptor Turret. Now the reason why there's a turret on here with beams is because it's part of the 4-piece set, as you can see. And then we've got another Biomolecular Disruptor Beam, critical damage times 2, and the Kinetic Cutting Beam. So that 4-piece bonus that I'm going for with the Counter Command set is pretty cool. The 2-piece gives you 7.5 bonus disruptor damage, or phaser, and increases the chance for your biomolecular proc by 2%. The 3-piece bonus gives you a heavy biomolecular turret barrage, which applies the biomolecular incubation to all targets within a 5-kilometer radius. And it's pretty cool watching it go, too. They're pretty big bullets. But the 4-piece set is awesome. Energy weapons have a 1% chance to apply Degenerative Wave Signature to foe for 10 seconds. What this does is it reduces hull healing by 50%, disables hull regeneration entirely, removes 1 active heal over time effect, say autonomous regeneration sequence from the Borg set if this were PvP, but it can only happen once per 10 seconds, and it doesn't stack, but the chance is 10% versus the Undine. So every 10 seconds there's going to be an Undine ship that can't heal itself anymore, and it'll just drop, which is real nice when that happens to the Dreadnoughts. Now, more of the 8472 counter command gear. We've got the counter command deflector, my new favorite deflector, because it grants 5% accuracy, 8.8 energy weapon damage, 17.5 kinetic weapon damage. My mouse is very twitchy now, and my hand is as well, sorry guys. 17.5 Starship Structural Integrity, so your hit points. 8.8 Starship Shield Systems, shield hit points. 17.5 Starship Inertial Dampeners. And 26.2 Starship Particle Generator. It's the only one I don't need on this build, but the reason why the Particle Generator is on this deflector and is actually useful will become clear in one moment. When we look at the bonus, I just want to show you the engines first. So they give you +5 inertia and 5% defense. You've got 21.4 flight speed, and it's efficient at high power levels. You get a 1.1 flight turn rate boost, and as you can see, my engine power is 7635, so I am running at high power levels, which is good for these engines. Now the reason why the particle generator is good is you've got the 2-piece bonus first of all, which gives you 12 anti-proton damage bonus resistance rating, and another 5% defense, which is awesome. But it's the 3-piece bonus, which I don't have on this ship. It's called Biomolecular Fluidic Space Counterblast. It goes in a 3-kilometer sphere, and it has a 2-minute recharge. To target 3,778.4 radiation damage, but it's only 25.5 DPS. But it reduces the target's flight speed by 8.1, or 33.3% if they're the Undine. Destroys fluidic rift puddles, and it's affected by particle generators. So yeah, maybe, you know, on the deflector it would be better to have something else, or more energy weapons and shield hit points. But with the whole set, it works. Now, a new piece of technology to everything is the Elite Fleet Hypercharged Warp Core. So, with this configuration, it's only giving 2 additional engine power, but it's giving 6 additional auxiliary power. It allows my engine and auxiliary to exceed 125, so both power levels can go to 130. It boosts warp core efficiency by 17.5, adds 7.5 of my weapons power to my auxiliary power, and it gives a 3.5% all damage boost for each subsystem with 75% or more, which with emergency power to shields constantly running, that would be all 3. And when my warp core buff procs, that might even kick in auxiliary up high enough to get me 4 of those stacked, which would be a 14% damage bonus. So that's pretty sweet. I really like this new core, so it's going to make its way on all my ships basically. And the shields, I went with the Dyson Regenerative Shield Array, because it's very low capacity, but it does regenerate as fast as any other regenerative. It reduces all energy damage to shields by 10%, which is good for everybody. This ship actually does fantastically against the Borg, and pretty much anyone you'll throw at it. But it reduces anti-proton damage to shields by 20%, and when receiving damage while a shield facing is depleted, there's a 100% chance to apply a Hyper-Regenerative Shield Array, which basically puts all shield facings back to full and reduces damage to shields by 67% for 10 seconds. So, again, both the Voth and the Undine use anti-proton, so that's a way better boost than what my Elite Fleet Adaptive Shield can do. And, of course, Hyper-Regenerative Shield Array is just awesome. It totally makes up for the small capacity. Because as you can see, its capacity is a whopping 5.8k. And my fleet shield would probably be somewhere around 7, maybe even closer to 8. It's pretty high capacity. So, for the consoles, there's the tachyonetic converter, the, obviously, hydrodynamics compensator, the enhanced neutronium alloy. I went with hull repair this time, because my hull repair rate is only 140% per minute with it. It's pretty low. Bioneural infusion circuits, the assimilated module, 4 vulnerability locators plus disruptor, and the counter-command multi-conduit energy relay, which also boosts radiation damage, which is good if you have the 3 or 4 piece deflector, engine, warp, and shield set. But I actually don't like the warp core at all, because it only boosts engine power. And it's got an engine capacitor, although my core does too, which is good for PvP, when you need to get the hell out of there and someone takes out your engines. But, you know, other than that, it's pretty insignificant, and I don't like covariant shield arrays, because on this thing it would just never regenerate, ever. It would fall to 0, and then I would have no shields. And that would be that. So my traits for this build, same as in every other build, Astrophysicist is replacing Hot Pursuit. I would like to get Biotech Patch eventually. I saw one for 400k the other day in the exchange, and I didn't know they were 12 million on the exchange normally, and I thought, oh well, I'll see what other ones I could get. And then I went right up to about 1.2 mil and thought, nah, I'm just going to go and get that one, and it was gone. And I've been mad at myself ever since. So advanced targeting systems and precision, we've all seen. Tactical precision for that accuracy bonus. And tactical advantage, because there's a lot of people usually in the battle zone, and a damage resistance debuff is something everyone can enjoy. Oh, sorry about that. Just having myself a little yawn. So you can see there's a crew of 50. Power transfer rate's crap. That's also why the hull repair rate's kind of crap. The hull strength is 46,367, which is okay. Just sitting still, the bonus defense is 17.7. At full speed, it is 87.7. Shield regeneration is 246.4 every 6 seconds. I've shown you the shield facing strength. Damage resistance, 23.7 for kinetic, 26.1 for all energy except anti-proton, which is 34.1. Again, really good for Voth and Undine. The attack stats are really nice. It's 32.6, and it will go all the way up to 44.6. Critical chance is 18.1, and critical severity is 106.8. Of course, both of those change if you activate Attack Pattern Alpha. And accuracy is improved if you activate Tactical Fleet. And the movement is really nice. The inertia is 75. Base flight speed is 45.4. Or that's the turn rate. The flight speed is 38.81. And, as you can see, that looks like this. And the engines look really cool too. I love the fluidic rift coming off of them, and the green trails and the green deflector mixed in with the green board bits from the assimilated module on a white chip from the Dyson shield. Just looks awesome. Turns like a beast. And of course, because the Undine like to debuff your engines and your turn rate and stuff, got a 250-degree firing arc on both the fore and rear bows, so you don't really need to worry. And there's so much power in these engines and so much flight speed that even when you do get caught in a fluidic rift, what you can do is swing around in them to sling yourself through it. Basically use the pull of it to increase your speed coming at it while you charge at some Undine and keep them in your forward arc, which is killer for them. And you use the inertia that you've grabbed to just fly out the other end, break from the pull, and you swing back around. It's a really simple and cool maneuver that that all of it makes possible. The smallness of it, the inertia, the speed, the warp core, the engines, all the power being pushed into the engines. It all adds up real nicely. So the bridge officers used on here are actually the same as they've always been. There is just a change around with the tactical officers. So my beam or attack pattern specialist, depending on how you look at it, is now in the commander slot. He's a Romulan with attack team, overload 2, attack pattern omega 1, attack pattern beta 3, because again, debuffs are something we can all enjoy. And to everyone I hit with my weapons, they get a 47.1 damage resistance rating for 5 seconds, and they lose stealth. And when you're in the battle zone, that really helps. Just say it's really crowded and really laggy, hit attack pattern beta 3. Come over here and hit torp spread 1. And fire at will 3. Boom. Everything goes. Add an attack pattern alpha just for good measure. So, the other ability I have here on my human tactical officer is high yield 2. And then attack team 1 on my other Romulan, who's a cannon specialist. We've got my liberated Borg with emergency power to shields 1 and 2, my Saurian science officer with transfer shield strength 1, and hazard emitters 2. For the duty officers, we've got an energy weapons officer that has a chance to grant 35% shield penetration for beam overload attacks. It's a 30% chance for that. 2 torpedo officers, 1 con officer, because I do use attack patterns. So while tactical team is active, I will show you what happens there. You get a slight boost to all of the attack patterns. Now, it's only like a boost of 1% on each stat, but still. 1% on each stat is 1%. 1% critical chance, percent critical severity, percent more damage. It adds up. And obviously, my warp core engineer. So, I haven't talked about my HUD since my first video with my fleet hack, but as you can see, it's a little different right now. So, what I've done is I've kept this 7 tray, and I did this with my Avenger. This was the only way I could make that ship work, and I turned it into a big powerhouse doing this. Was by using attack patterns and precision. You know, I might not hit all my targets as hard as I possibly could, but how I was boosting my damage was hitting a lot of targets when I'd be getting in a swarm with a Faw and some attack patterns and using brace for impacts to try to keep my crew alive longer, just waiting for the opportune moments instead of running it all the time like I do with most ships. And a lot of the time I have to constantly run my tactical abilities because there's so many other abilities, like say in the Vesta, I've only got access without having to come up to the 3rd row and start clicking to rows 1 and 2 here. And it's not the biggest deal. For the most part, I can keep it like this and not have to worry. But on some ships like the Vesta, you've got to fill up 4 rows with that ship. There's so many freaking buttons with it, and that's without even using the Vesta set. So I tend to just run my tactical abilities, or like in the hack, where it's just going to drop things dead no matter what. It's constantly in battle anyways. It's not so bad. There's not much of the loss. I don't really use attack patterns either. So a lot of things are set to wait and then do it, like torp spread. And I thought about leaving torp spread and even high yield on the 7 tray, but I think I'm going to wait. I mean, if I'm already trying to pick the most opportune moments, it's a better way to do it. It will definitely slow me down in my reaction times to things, and the battle zone can get pretty busy. So I'm hoping it doesn't fail me with this setup and that it ends up that I'm just way too overwhelmed by things, but I'm sure I'll get used to it regardless. And I guess my last thing is, some people would ask, why am I not using a cloak? Because the Defiant can use a cloak. I do have the cloak. I have bought, as you've seen, the Dreadnought from the C store, and I did buy the original Defiant from the Z store, and I wish I didn't now, because what the hell am I supposed to do with 2 cloaks? A waste of $5 there. But 2 things. A, I don't like cloaks. I don't like that whole cloak and dagger thing. I've said it before, because it annoys me to no end when I'm trying to kill something. It's just like, oh, look, gone. I'm gonna cloak. It's like, yes, but I would have had you if you didn't have a cloak. So, you know, yes, they may come back and blow me out of the water or be able to hit me while they're cloaked or whatnot. It's just still a pain in the ass. And really, then at that point, do you say, well, the person with the cloak won because they didn't blow up, or do you say, well, they didn't win because the only reason they won was, you know, chickening out and hiding? And I don't really like that tactic. And 2, I've got way better consoles than it, because Federation cloaks are consoles, and I think that's stupid. I'd much prefer it, even if it wasn't a battle cloak, to just be built in to the ship. I wouldn't even be mad about, you know, buying the Z-Store ships to originally with the Defiant to get the cloak, and then them saying, hey man, we're just going to build it into the ship. I'd never use it, but it'd be nice. So, final thoughts on the ship. It's awesome. There's 5 tactical consoles, although you can get that in the Advanced Escort. But it's the only one that has a Lieutenant Commander Tactical. And as much as some people might say that, you know, this BOF layout is really bad and it'll turn into a glass cannon, it really doesn't. It allows for it to be a pretty sturdy ship. Like I said, the Heck is a really sturdy ship, as I've shown, for the most part. But this was where that build was born. And damage-wise, it is equal with the Heck, if not better. Which, considering the pets do nearly 500,000 damage depending on the STF, that's pretty awesome. It's in line with every other escort. You know, maybe the patrol escort is now better. And some could argue that being able to have a gravity well or hazard emitters 3 would make the Prometheus better or the Esgulf better. And I would probably say that the patrol escort's better. I mean, you get 2 Lieutenant Commander Bridge Officers instead of Lieutenant Commander or Lieutenant Ensign. One of the Lieutenant Commanders is in Engineering, the other is Universal, and you still have a Lieutenant Science and a Commander Tactical. And I've seen it in PvP and stuff like that, and it's just blown everybody away. I think it does have 5 tactical consoles too. So, you know, if you were saying, should I get a Fleet Patrol Escort or a Fleet Tactical Escort Retrofit? If you really liked DS9, you care about the nostalgia, you just like how the Defiant looks, or you want a ship that's got the highest turn rate in the game, at least on the Federation side, as far as I can remember, then you go with the Fleet Defiant Tactical Escort Retrofit. If you just want the most powerful, tankiest escort that you can get, you go with the Patrol Escort. And that's basically that. So, thank you everybody for watching, and I will be back momentarily, depending on if you watch my videos back to back, with the Undine Battle Zone, and then if I have the time today, we'll also be doing the usual STFs. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one.